Dressed. All right, we'll just give the camera in the back just a moment.
University must be in tough shape if Nick's teaching class. That's what I'm saying.
I'm not even eligible. Yeah. All right, Coach, whenever you're ready, sir.
All right, guys, you know, much like you would expect, a lot of good and some bad and some ugly out there today. So, you know, I do think that they're priceless. Scrimmages are priceless. You get to play the situations as they arise. You know, certainly, you know, you've been working on situational football, down and distance, fields on the clock, and then all of a sudden you got to combine all of that and play it as you see fit. So, you know, I thought the effort for the most part was really good. There was definitely toughness there. There was some physicality. You know, the challenge in these scrimmages is to go play with the basic fundamentals. You've been taught a set of techniques. You've been taught a set of fundamentals. Block, tackle, throw, catch. You know, communication becomes really important because you take the coaches out of the equation and put them on the sideline. And then can you do your job, right, in that type of environment? You know, sometimes a young player gets a little big-eyed, and then sometimes they rise to the occasion. So a lot of good. You know, I do think that, you know, we're a little bit further along, you know, just from a general execution standpoint, the quality of the football. But a lot of combinations of players. You know, sometimes you got to remember that as coaches when you walk off the field. So a lot of good today, no major injuries, and that's always a positive. So what questions do we have here?
Just a housekeeping. Micah Mazzccua, he wasn't out of practice for a couple of days and then had a tweet that he deleted. Just do you have an update on his status?
Yeah, tough dynamic, right? You know, I think a lot going on there behind the scenes, right? Micah was injured. You know, we ended up doing an MRI. He has a, you know, it's a prior injury that was kind of uncovered, right? Something that's happened in the past for him. So, you know, I think nowadays with these players and you know, there's a ton of expectations put on them. You know, injuries are a challenge, right? And certainly put you in a bad place. And, you know, Mike is a guy who is late in his career, certainly had big ambitions here. So this is going to set him back a little bit, right? He had surgery just a few days ago, and he will be in return to play protocol. We're hopeful to get him back in training camp. But, you know, 15 years ago, you would have never known about that. You know, the kid goes just through a tough time, and certainly injuries are a challenge, right? And, you know, we're hopeful Michael makes a healthy return and going to help him and support him through his rehab and all the things that come with an injury these days. So there you go.
Billy, are you seeing the carryover from practice to practice that with the improvement that you see one day, in the next practice you're seeing the carryover, et cetera?
No question. You know, just we're in a different place. You know, I think it's, you know, I used this analogy the other day, right? It's like you're a teacher and you're kind of moving up with your class, right? So you had them in third grade and then you get to teach them again in fourth grade, right? So you're teaching the same material again. They're a little bit more mature. They're a little bit more aware. You know them as people. We certainly have a lot of new players, but we're teaching the same set of information again, right? They're very familiar with the process. So we're a lot further along, and I think that sometimes we equate that to just a player, you know, but I think it's just as important with the staff, right? They're teaching it for the second time. They know our method. They know what's coming next, and I think they're better at teaching the material. So there's no question, 8 practices in, I think we're in a better place. And certainly the new personnel helps, but I think the most important thing is that everybody in the organization is in year 2, that veteran group of players and the entire staff.
Also bringing in Billy Gonzales. Could you talk about that, please?
Yeah, very always respected Billy G. You know, I was a former receiver coach, had a ton of respect for Billy G as a young coach. You know, I thought his guys always really played well without the ball. did a good job evaluating and recruiting, and then did a good job of, he had talent in his room. So Billy G's been an absolute professional since the day he arrived. He's a good man. He's got character. I think he cares about the players, and he's certainly an expert at what he does. So, and he works in recruiting. So it's been a great fit, and there's a lot that we can learn from him and his experience here. He's been here and been a part of some really successful teams and knows this place well.
Had high praise for your offense. He feels like he fits real well. How does he fit in it? And what gives you confidence? Because if you look at Louisiana, there was a real jump from year 1 to year 2, about 6 points, in fact, that can translate here.
Yeah, no, man, we just weren't very good, I mean, we can't, so we're going to improve, I mean, year 1's blender, man. I mean, there's a lot that comes with it, and certainly in the 2 new variables that were thrown into a mix in a transition year, I think contribute as well, right? So got to hire a group, you got to get to know a new group of players, new recruiting footprint, new investors, new leadership, just a lot, and certainly new competition. I just really have got a lot of confidence in our approach. I think we've hired well, and I think we're all going to get better, and that starts with me, right? So, it's personal, if that makes sense, I mean, it really is. It's what we do, right? We teach, we coach, we evaluate, we recruit. All those things are part of the job, but the most important part is the leadership component. All these things start with me, and anybody that knows me would tell you that we're going to get it right. So,
How's Graham going to help there?
Yeah, well, he's in competition for the job. I think Graham's been impressive. I think he's an experienced player. He's comfortable. He started 32 games in a really established program with high expectations. And there's no price you can put on that, So, and I would tell you that he is, his approach since the first day he's been here is what you would want from a quarterback. It's almost as if you're acquiring a free agent in the National Football League that's an experienced veteran player, and he's learning a new system. His approach has been what you would want. So, he's off to a good start, and certainly we hope he continues that way.
You mentioned the effort and the physicality. What else was good about the scrimmage? Any position groups or any specific players or aspects you think?
Yeah, I mean, I think that overall for me, it's good because I thought it wasn't one-sided. There was momentum, a little bit bad on both sides. I thought some of our units responded. We saw some of the young talent be a factor. We saw veterans play well. The most important thing for me is that we get the situational work. I mean, that's really all I care about. I don't care if the offense or defense wins. I mean, we got great football on tape that we can teach from. We got situational football, down and distance, field zone, clock, and we got an opportunity to work hard on the fundamentals and the communication. So a lot of good out there today, but also not quite game ready, I would say.
Just you planning that, like you've watched 7 practices. Now I want to see how these guys react in red zone or in 3rd and long or 2-minute. How do you, choreograph a scrimmage?
Yeah, no, we have, we've been doing this. This is our 6th year. Obviously, we've worked for really good people, and we evolve each year. I think we've tweaked it a little bit each and every year. We do quite a bit of we do some individual. We do a little bit of 7-on pass rush to start. Then we kind of get into some competitive work and move the field. We incorporate the special teams throughout, and then we get situational at the end, right, just to make sure we kind of check the boxes in the D&D field zone. So it's good. We've been doing it a while, and never fails to produce what you need to teach off of.
The quarterbacks do today, just operating the offense, especially the guys that got to run with the starters.
Yeah, no, I thought we really did a lot of good things. I think the big thing is there's some situational football that we can learn from. And we turned the ball over a handful of times that I think we can clean up. But overall, just situational football, game management, understanding, being on the same page with the play caller, understanding where you're at, D&D, field zone, what's the thought process, all things that you would hope come from a scrimmage. So.
And offensive line, obviously a lot of new pieces there. Just how you feel like they gelled today and what you saw from them.
That's probably the hardest thing to assess walking off the field when you're calling it, So it'd be much easier if I was standing out there behind it. But, I would say that group is making progress. We've got some newcomers that we've been impressed with that are showing improvement, and we've got some young players that we think are capable of helping us. I think that group is come along well. And I think the competition between the offensive line, defensive line, the edge players is really good right now. We've got good players up front on the other side, and I think that's creating a really healthy practice environment.
What's his opportunity for Christian, just with Micah out and now him filling in at left guard?
Yeah, no, there's several players in there that are getting an opportunity to work. Obviously Richie's played some ball here. Slaughter's played ball here. Najee Harris, Christian. Rod Kearney's been playing a little bit of center in there. So that's a position where we've got confidence. Cam Waits is injured. Jalen Farmer's injured. We've got a ton of confidence in the center guard group right now.
Similarly, how have you felt about a guy like Arliss Boardingham, who probably has a pretty big opportunity to step up here as well?
Yeah, the tight end group in particular today, I thought, caught the ball well, ran after the catch well. We'll see where we at in the blocking game and the run game. But for the most part, Arliss made some plays today. And, Hayden Hanson made some plays. Tony Livingston made some plays. There was a lot of positive out there from the tight end group.
Have you seen the defensive guys, just continue to get used to working with Austin and the way that he might call things? How has that gone?
Yeah, no, I think it's going really well. I think today at times we were a little bit up and down. I think we were hot and cold to some degree. We were really good at times in the scrimmage, and then we had issues at times. So, we're playing combinations of players, right? Sometimes I got to remind some of these coaches, hey, don't forget we just got to put 11 out there at once. So, and the way we approach it, we spread the work out, right? We want to hit a quota for each player, get everybody quality work, and then have an opportunity to teach every player. So, but, no doubt that Austin's hit the ground running. I think we've improved the personnel, and I think that the young players over there, the newcomers over there are making a difference. And I think that all the people from a strategy and teaching standpoint, fundamentally, they're much more familiar with the system. That's getting overlooked, I think. So Mike and Sean and Corey, that entire group there, really Jay, the whole group and the second tier staff on that side of the ball that is returning. So we lost a few pieces, but I think the second tier and the infrastructure helps you absorb that a little bit.
Go to Mark. I know you don't like to single out any one player or so, but are there one or two guys that from the start of spring practice to right now, you're saying, wow, these guys have really changed everything about them?
Yeah. I've been impressed with Boone. I think Boone has showed maturity. I like his practice habits. I like his leadership. I think he's really grown as a man and his character. Antoine Powell, Princely, Uman Mielen. Princely's practice habits have improved, much more consistent as a person. I think that's leading to a much more consistent player. I think Jason Marshall's been lights out. Shamar James is, obviously has some momentum, but is, that experience was beneficial for him. I'm probably leaving out a few here, but those are a couple on the defensive side in particular.
The NCAA proposal to allow analysts to coach on the field looked like it was going to get passed in January. Now it looks like it's not. Is that a setback in your eyes? Do you feel like that needs to happen, or is it, no big deal?
Well, it's going to, I think the big thing here is there's going to need to be some prep prior to that. That's a huge legislation issue, right? So for them to spring that right now, is that healthy? I don't know. I think you're going to see that probably get announced, and then you're going to see probably a 6-month period for people to prepare for that, if that makes sense. So I think that day's coming. I really do. And I think it'll be beneficial for all involved. I think there's a lot on the plate of a full-time coach. And, we've got the second tier now, but there's some limitations relative to not being able to give instruction on the field. So, the workload is – they're doing a lot to help the pace of the job and the life-work balance and all those things, but I do think there's more that we can do, and I think they'll continue to see that. But, yeah, I think it's just a matter of time, in my opinion.
Last question. Speaking of huge, if you look at the roster, there's a lot of size been added on the lines. Are you guys – how would you characterize the size of this team up front on both sides? And also, are you getting kind of to your vision there?
Yeah, no, we've certainly – there's no question. Height, length, verified speed. There's 27 new players out there. I wouldn't trade any of them. I think we get a lot of credit to our there's a lot of people working together as a team in the evaluation process. We like to say subjective evaluation, team recruitment, and certainly that's what it took to get them here. And I think so far so good.
Pretty massive to get up front, you think? 6'8", 6'6", 6'7".
Yeah. Yeah.
Why subjective evaluation and not objective evaluation?
I said that wrong. I think objective. Is that what I said? Objective.
Objective, so I was like, wait, what? Okay.
Yeah. You caught that. That's good. You caught that. Nobody else caught that. Right.
Any update on Zipper in terms of his injury? Is he?
Yeah, Zipper has a knee injury, and he's had the surgery, and it'll be a significant amount of time for him to return to play.
All right. Thank you, Coach. Thanks.
All right. Good catch. Good catch.